The James Show Podcast.
My next guest, you didn't notice he was gone, but I certainly did. He's with the Dallas Express. He was working in the legislative session or something like that, I think. But he's back now at the Dallas Express, and boy, I've been getting a lot of good audio out of him. So thanks for doing some legwork, prepping for my show. Carlos Tercios from Dallas Express, welcome back.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. Well,
you did some great work going to this meeting in Fort Worth yesterday. Now, what was this a meeting of? Was this the Tarrant County Commissioners Court, or was this the City Council? What jurisdiction are we talking about?
No, it was the City Council, the Fort Worth City Council, and what they were doing yesterday is they were debating whether they should vote to end the DEI department, and they ultimately decided to delay the vote. And the reason why they are voting to remove the DEI department is because the Trump administration issued an executive order back in January of this year, and the EO basically requires cities across the country, local governments, to not use DEI if they want to continue using their federal funding. The city of Fort Worth has $277 million that it gets from the federal government. And if they do not ban the DEI department, if they don't end the programs and policies that they have implemented over the past several years by August 5th, then they are at risk of losing that $277 million.
That's a lot of money. Okay, so isn't there something in a Texas statute that makes public institutions not legal for them to have a DEI department?
So for cities, no.
That's a college thing?
Yeah, there's one for colleges, and there's actually going to be one for school districts when September comes, and that's Senate Bill 12. But for cities, there's actually no law in the state of Texas that prohibits cities from having a DEI department. Actually, there was a bill that was filed this session by Representative Chatzline to actually eliminate DEI in every city in the state of Texas, and also for county governments. But that did not pass, the House. It didn't even get a hearing whatsoever.
All right, you're listening to Carlos Tercios from Dallas Express. Let me play you a couple of sound bites from the videos he was posting yesterday on Twitter/X. The first one, this is a lady giving a public comment here. She's wearing a mask, and she's wearing a mask that says BLM. Now, this isn't a time warp to 2020. This is an old video. This was yesterday. But listen to her try and save the DEI program.
All people who are going to be affected negatively by this removal. Jay Choppa, I heard your presentation. You presented it like our backs are up against the wall. They are not. $40 million in federal grants and federal funding. We have that under our big toe in Fort Worth. We have that lying around in CCPD. We have that lying around in vacant positions that are not filled, that are hard to fill, that will not be filled anytime soon.
So she's making the case that they need to keep their DEI programs, even if they would lose money, tens of millions of dollars. Your reaction, Carlos?
Yeah, so there were quite a few Democrat activists that were doing public comment yesterday, and their argument was that, the city of Fort Worth can lose this federal funding, and they can actually just increase taxes, and that's where we will get that money. Because DEI is too important that they are willing to increase taxes. They are willing to hurt the city financially. That was their argument, is that DEI is so important that it's going to hurt minority residents in the city of Fort Worth. And that was their argument the whole time. And that individual that was talking there, Pamela Young, she's from the radical left-wing organization called United Fort Worth. And their whole deal is to abolish the police, defund the police. She actually mentioned in that clip that we can get funding from the CCPD, which is from the police. Mm-hmm. The whole goal is that they don't care if the federal funding is withheld. because their argument is, well, we can get that money from the police department. And that's really what they want, is not only do they want to keep DEI, but they also want to find a way to hurt the police department in the city of Fort Worth.
Another great soundbite you gave us yesterday, Chris Nettles, who's a city councilman in Fort Worth, District 8. What's the deal with white people killing black people?
The reason why we say Black Lives Matter is because it's the black lives that has been killed and destroyed in our streets by white folks. The reason why it's important that we have programs like this is because we have not had the equity and the ability to, even though we can do the work, but because we don't look like you look or talk like you talk, then we don't meet your qualifications. And that's what we're standing on today. And I believe that this city council, this city manager can find ways to fund these programs.
That's not even a coherent argument, Carlos.
No, it's not. And they are trying to fearmonger because they know that when August 5th comes, or whenever they decide to vote on this, the council should follow the executive order, because $277 million being lost is going to hurt the city of Fort Worth. But yet you do have, unfortunately, in the city council, you do have a majority Democrat presence, even though there's a Republican mayor. There's 6 Democrats, there's 5 Republicans, and 5 of those Democrats more than likely will be voting against the resolution to dismantle the DEI department and comply with the executive order. And their whole deal is what's going to hurt minority groups. It's going to, and of course, in some extreme instances like Chris Nettles, he'll make the argument, and the ludicrous argument, that, black people are going to be hurt and that white people are killing black people, which is the most insane comment I think anyone could make.
It's pretty close. We're talking with Carlos Tercios from the Dallas Express. This seems like a no-brainer on what would be best for the citizens of Fort Worth. Not losing that funding, not spending this other funding. That $40 million is what she cited their DEI program cost them. Oh, we can just get it from somewhere else. We have that under our big toe. We'll just take it from the taxpayers. It wouldn't be good for the few people that are employed by the DEI programs. So what do the taxpayers do to stop this?
Well, there's, different ways that people from the city of Fort Worth can get involved. They can go to the city website and, of course, take a look at the calendar and see when the next city council meeting will be taking place. The scheduled meeting for this one is August 5th, but people can do public comment throughout July. Whenever there's a public comment meeting, people can sign up to the public comment. They can also email their city council members or the mayor, letting them know whether they support the resolution to remove the DEI program or do not. Those are ways that people can get involved. Email, also leaving a comment as well. But those are several ways that people can get involved. And I do believe that for the August 5th meeting, there might be a good presence for that city council meeting, because that is when they have to decide, if the DI department is going to be gutted or not. And if they decide to keep the program, then the federal government will keep the $277 million that they would have provided to the city. So the city will be losing almost $300 million. And then, they're going to have to increase taxes somehow. I mean, it'll be a disaster if that happens. But I do anticipate a lot of people showing up to that city council meeting.
Well, generally speaking on this show, not a big fan of people protesting or making a sign or hollering in the street. But this level of political activism where you show up at the meeting where the argument's had, where the decision is going to be made. There's politicians that will be swayed by seeing a giant crowd of motivated, enthusiastic people in the room with them and think, ooh, if I don't get this right, all these people's emotions, ire, and energy are going to be turned against me. I actually have seen that have some sort of positive effect on statecraft, even at the local level, especially at the local level.
Yes, I mean when when people show up, and yesterday for the city council meeting, no Republicans showed up. No people that showed up were all in favor of DEI, with the exception of one businessman who said, "Yeah, he was fine with removing the program because the $277 million." That can't be lost. The city cannot lose $277 million from the federal government. And, he basically said that, there's the fiscal conservative way, and that is to support a resolution to remove the DEI program. But the vast majority were people that were in support of DEI. And when you have one side of the political spectrum just show up, you're going to have those city council members believe that that's what the city likes. And you have to keep in mind that the city of Fort Worth has 1 million people, and the people that spoke, it's less than 25. So people need to show up to their city council meetings, and if they don't support DEI, they definitely need to show up for the August 5th meeting for sure.
All right, this is Carlos Tercios from the Dallas Express. Are you going to some of the protests this weekend? I see that there's going to be Indivisible is hosting a protest Friday at the Main Street Garden in downtown Dallas, and this is for no war on Iran. But it seems like it's just the same groups coming out every other weekend and just changing flags. It was the Ukraine flag one week, and then it was the Mexican flag the next week, and then it was the Palestinian flag the week after that. Now we're going to be swinging the Iranian flag. I mean, they're just going to continue this, indefinitely?
More than likely. And now with, the New York City getting a Democrat nominee that's 99% likely going to be winning, and that's actually a communist, you're seeing a lot of these left-wing organizations and activists, start to wave the Hamas flag. They start to wave the Iranian flag. I will be present. I will be showing up at some of those events this weekend, and we'll see what circus they decide to perform. So
yeah, give me some of that sweet audio, Carlos. And look, I have a lot of people a few people who've sent me emails and Facebook messages. Am I concerned about the Islamist communist that is going to be the next mayor of New York City? And I think, dude, if it was run by an Islamist communist, what would they do any different? Like, New York City! How could you even tell? And so, no, and then I tried to really answer the question. It's like, well, how would it be different than it is now? It's like, well, the economic policies would be about the same. The America hating would be about the same. The antipathy toward MAGA and Trump would be about the same. I guess maybe it might be less gay.
That's the irony, is that the candidate that won the Democrat nomination, he's very pro-LGBTQ. He's very pro-transgenderism. And, even though a lot of the Muslims voted for this candidate, Islam is not really compatible with left-wing ideology. It's like oil and water. They just don't mix. There's a weird coalition happening in the country where left-wing activists are, teaming up with these pro-Hamas and pro-Muslim groups. But if they were to go to the Middle East, it would be a completely different story.
Well, see, I find that quite warm. It's like a warm hug to me, because it's an argument we can't lose. Like when they say that we should open up women's sports and let these other people play that obviously don't belong, you can argue against it, or you can just let it happen. I'm only going to be proven right. And so for this one, oh, really? You, the people who have the sexual orientation that is wholly rejected by the Islamists are teaming up with the Islamists. Go ahead. That's not going to work out well. Just my prediction. Carlos Tercios, you do great work. I appreciate your help with all the prep on the James Show. Good luck at the protest this weekend, sir.
Thank you, James.
Find his work. He's got a good Twitter feed you can follow, but DallasExpress.com is his day job. Coming up next, we got to do an immigration report. Renata Castro from USA for All is going to be joining us. And the Supreme Court says Trump can deport illegals to countries they aren't from, which I think is hilarious. Might be even preferable to deporting them back to their home country. Here, let's just throw in another monkey wrench. But we'll talk to her about that next. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM. WBAP. Now for my friend, Bob Lavelle, Home Marketing Services. You see the home market is heating up nationwide, and that's the reports. But the little secret is it's been hot here for a lot longer than it's been heated up nationwide.
I agree. And not only has it been hot, I think what's most important is the builders have a lot of inventory right now. And the new home builds have a greater inventory right now, I think, than the pre-owned stuff. Now, we do both. But that's really great for business when, I mean, like a couple just left here a few minutes ago, nicest people, Mike and Aaron. They have never bought a home. They're in their early 40s, and they just said, you know what? We calculated we spent $220,000 in rent at the same place for the last 10 years, and it's time. So they came in. It wasn't as complicated as they thought. They'll go out this weekend, and I bet they'll find what they love.
Yeah, right. All that money, they get nothing back for it. If they had been in the home ownership game, they'd walk away with, I don't know, $60,000, $100,000 or whatnot next time they changed homes. But the other good thing that Bob does that your friend from college or your sister-in-law who just got a real estate license can't do is he mentioned the relationship he has with builders. He's been friends and business partners with builders for 30 years. And when they build 250 homes and they got to unload them, they go to someone who can take care of the big chores like Bob Lavelle. So call 972-392-9595. Get home marketing services working for you. 972-392-9595. You can go to blessyourheart.com or Bob's phone number, 972-392-9595. Thanks again, Bob.
Thank you, James. Take care.
Sometimes I play you these viral videos that happen to be funny to make a good point, not to make fun of people. This time I think we're just going to be making fun of people. Is that okay? Can we be childish for a second? Because, look, we make fun of trigger warnings and people getting triggered, and not because, you know, there's no such thing as getting triggered. It's that the bar for what becomes unacceptable, what becomes obscene, or what becomes, not fit for public consumption based on the fear that it could trigger somebody. The bar's gotten so low. That's what makes it ridiculous. And so I think we may have reached the bottom of the barrel of the triggering bit here. A couple ladies, they're a couple. It's not important whether or not they're lesbians. They just are, just to explain the two voices. They're in a grocery store, had a meltdown because some man next to them floated an air biscuit, if you know what I mean.
It's fresh because it just happened. But my wife and I, we just went to the grocery store right by our house, just to buy like junk food and stuff, because we're really tired. We just wanted some sweet treats. And we were walking down an aisle, and there were like two guys that walked up next to us. Peyton like walked away. My wife walked away for just a second, and they were like snickering to themselves or something. And, I didn't really think much of it, so I'm just looking at the candy aisle trying to decide what candy I want. And he walks by and gets, inches from me and just rips one, farts, this far from me. That's disgusting to say. I can't even believe I'm having to say this, but he did. And about that time, Peyton walked up, didn't witness what happened, but seconds later, and I'm upset, and I follow after him, and I was like, is there a reason? You were just so disrespectful to me. And we go to customer service. And this is Albertsons, putting y'all out there. This is Albertsons, by the way. And go to the customer service to be like, hey, this just happened. I was just disrespected in your store and called names several times. And the security guard went and talked to him, came back, and they all just kind of looked at us and was like, well, can't y'all just leave?
Yeah, that doesn't mean... I like the fact that she takes this to the management of Albertsons. Full disclosure, I sat grocery at Albertsons in high school for a few months. But that's my only affiliation with them. I have no loyalty to Albertsons, but I definitely feel sorry for them, because how can you hold a company responsible for the loose bowels of the millions of customers that shuffle in and out of their stores over the course of the last few years? They cannot be held responsible for everyone that decides to cut the cheese in the produce section. You know, where did these people learn this? Number one, that having someone break wind next to you is just a personal slight and it's a trigger that it's just dehumanizing. Who taught you that? Did you not have a brother growing up? Did you not have any guy friends that were growing up? And then I have some questions for Peyton, the wife in the background. If you saw your spouse posting something this cringy, something this just sobbing about a fart, you wouldn't stop them? You wouldn't say, no, you're really gonna go viral in a way that you don't want. This is not gonna make your life. This is probably ruin every Google search on you from here to the end of Google. This is what your grandkids and great-grandkids are going to be pulling up when they Google your name, is that you got triggered because some guy floated one next to you in an Albertsons. The other cool thing about now, it's 2025. There's always people recording, if not with their phone. There's surveillance cameras everywhere, and they have microphones on them. And so some of these sleuths on the internet with their weaponized autism, they hacked Albertson's system. They got the video to prove the woman's story. And if you enhance the audio, if you just cut out that one little part and you enhance the audio, we actually got a live cut here of the crime in progress. All right, no, I'm just kidding. I was being a kid. But isn't this taking the trigger game too far? Look, if you grew up during the Jim Crow South and someone put a burning cross in your yard and you said, I'm triggered, I think we'd all be sympathetic toward your cause. Like, yeah, that's horrible that you had to go through that. Everyone should be able to, just live in peace in their neighborhood without having threatening, flaming crosses in their yard, coming from a group that's known for beating and lynching and destroying the lives of people based on the color of their skin. Pretty scary stuff. And then you go down the escalator of triggers. And then burning cross, probably right up at the top, brandishing a gun. Then it gets to verbal stuff like you heard the N word, or maybe you even heard the B word. And then you get down to even smaller triggers and slights like, oh, he flipped me off, or I didn't appreciate the way he looked at me. Or the very bottom of the escalator, I think might be breaking wind, cutting the cheese. This is it? This is your trigger? Have you not had any obstacles in your entire life that you've overcome, so much so that a fart is insurmountable to you? And then my last thought was with the person who had to field the complaint for Albertsons. They're not even upset about that. That's the highlight of their day. They probably just had to fire someone for shoplifting, during their shift. They probably had to clean up some broken spaghetti sauce in aisle 4. And then, oh, great, here comes a crying woman with her next complaint. What could the grievance possibly be this time? Oh, some dude farted on you? That's hilarious. I can't wait to tell all my friends. This is the funniest thing I've heard all day. I'm not upset at all. Sorry you feel that way. If you have any further questions, call the cops. They'd love a good laugh, too. All right, if you want to come out and see me this weekend, no fart jokes, but I am doing a comedy show with Alex Stein at Hyenas in Dallas. Doors open at 6, show at 7. Come on out there, show up, support a brother. I got kids. I need all the help I can get. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show. News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.